It's been almost 7 months since I posted the first devlog for my overambitious project, and in that time I unfortunately haven't been able to progress quite as much as I intended. You see, about a week and a half after I posted the first video, all progress was going at a good pace and was going pretty smoothly. But then a longtime friend and coworker slid into my DMs saying,
"I have a job for you."
And within an hour I was in an interview. Within 2 days I had started my current job as a level designer and environment artist on an officially licensed He-Man game for Roblox. Now, I was actually under NDA due to this show that it's based off of not even being announced or released until about mid-October, but now that the show is out and we're doing a public beta test of the game, its existence is no longer much of a secret. All things considered, I couldn't say no to an opportunity like this one, and it's a fun project. I'm learning a lot about how professional projects run just by being part of it. The experience is truly invaluable. Well, shortly after that, my summer classes reached their end and I had to balance a job working on He-Man with a 5-class course load. The amount of stress I was under left me mentally and emotionally drained nearly every day of the week, and judging by my blood pressure at one of my dentist appointments at the time, it was probably slowly killing me too. Anyway, nobody's here to listen to my life story. In fact, a lot of you are wondering where Project Submersion fits into all this. And to that, I have a lot more to present than I initially thought I would. Not only that, but you can play it right now. And the game also has an official title. I'll talk more about this stuff at the end of the video, so make sure to stick around for that. Well, to start us off, let's go with what has been redone or replaced based on everyone's request and comments from the last video. Starting us off, we have a new safety roll animation. The previous one was more realistic, which is why I initially went with it when I got it from Mixamo. However, a lot of people commented that it looked weird or made them feel a bit dizzy. Some of you who joined the Discord server just about unanimously agreed that I need to have a strictly vertical roll, much like what is seen in Mirror's Edge Catalyst, so that's what I went for. After spending a bit animating the new roll and syncing up the camera timing, this one seems to be much more preferred by everyone who has seen it so far, so hopefully this is the final roll that I stick with. Next, I honestly lost count of how many of you comment on the ledge grab animations, and believe me, I was right there with you thinking the thumb intersection looked a bit weird and the side to side movement was very clunky. There were also a few people saying that the climb up time was too slow and it broke the flow a bit, so I didn't just fix any of it, fixings for the week, I redid all of it. As you can see, there's totally new grab animations with the hands separated and smooth side to side movement. The reach back animations now flow smoothly together, and the climb up animation is short, smooth, and sweet. On a technical level, I recoded the vertical wall run. Previously it worked on root motion, but I was wanting a bit more control, so the new version is 100% manual and adjustable. In this endeavor, I also boosted the speed of it significantly, gave it a new animation, and added a half-second pause state to the quick turn to make it more forgiving to people who don't have the reflexes of a GPU scalper bot. I also recoded a solid chunk of how the parkour works. I cut down on a few dozen branches and booleans and replaced them with a state machine. Now the code is considerably cleaner and runs a bit faster. This change, however, did break quite a bit of stuff initially, and I had to fix just about every feature to work with it. There was a gross bug where doing a vertical wall run into a ledge grab ended up causing the player to float about a meter above the ledge, and it took me 3 months to figure out what was causing it. When I finally did, I felt stupid. It works great now though. Among the other various bug fixes I did in response to the first closed alpha test, I also realized that I had forgotten to code the most vital part of riding on a zipline: dropping off. In previous versions, you would shoot straight down when dropping off the zipline, and now it's closer to real physics and actually carries you forward at a similar velocity as you fall. Now with all the replacements and fixes taken care of, I can finally share some of the new things that I added to the project. A short and simple one you may have already noticed in a few earlier clips is the fake interior shader. It was pretty simple to set up, and well, I mean, the entire shader was posted on ArtStation by one of the Spider-Man PS4 artists, but I made a few fixes, optimizations, and changes to it, and even with this crappy test room, it still looks pretty good. Another quick change was feet IK. It's a small change, but it definitely makes for a bit more realism. I also finally added various fall types with shells for fall damage. Right now there's a light normal landing, a safety roll, and a heavy landing, and of course fall death. Aside from killing the player in the most extreme case, currently no damage is done as there is no damage handling. Another note is that right now there is only one heavy landing and it's pretty static. I'll ideally add a forward tumble variant for cases where the player is moving forward while landing at a later time. Feature wise, I finally finished the underbar swing. In the last video it was about 25% done. I've since made a 100% custom swinging animation based on real motion reference. I also coded the jump off, made a synchronized camera sway animation, and made custom swinging sounds from samples of tightening leather and pull brushes. I'd like to note that with my system you're always swinging on the pole. There isn't any side to side movement or bar mantling, as quite frankly I wouldn't use enough in level design to warrant the pain of trying to sync camera movement with the ability to start and stop swinging. Next I made balance beams, which was rather simple, but that's probably because I didn't bother adding any mechanic that can knock you off the bar. Basically I just constrained the player to the plane of the direction that the bar is going. In order to guarantee the player is horizontally centered on the bar, I used some interesting but rather short math functions based on the character's position in relation to the first or second spline point, of course depending on which direction they're going. Overall it looks pretty good and it works fairly well too, so I mean it's fine with me. I also got around to progressing and making ladders and pipes. The two share a system, which as you can see here is complete on a fundamental level. After making a custom ladder mesh, I had to make the custom root motion animations for the ladder climb to ensure everything is lined up and looks good. In this case, I also decided to have the player grasp the struts of the ladder. As your entry point will not always be the same, it would be extremely difficult to line up Ara's hands and feet with the rungs of the ladder. Lining these things up would take more calculations and inverse kinematics work than it's worth. All things considered, the ladders and pipe climbs won't be available to testers for quite some time still, as there are a number of bugs and transitions that I need to consider in code. There are also a few miscellaneous additions too. Namely, I modeled and textured two AC units that I'll be placing on the game's many rooftops. These turned out far better than my expectations, so I'm sure the rest will turn out pretty good too. I also worked on some new outfit, head, and shoe variations, and I laid the groundwork for the inventory menu interface that will likely be fleshed out in an upcoming update. Finally, I also have the bones for time trials, which is a feature that quite a few testers have been requesting so they can flex on each other. But much like ladders, this still needs some more time in the oven before I release it to everyone. Now that we've reached the end of the devlog, it should be no secret that the last few months have been absolute turmoil for me. Between 5 classes and a professional job, it's been hard finding the time to work on Project Submersion as much as I had planned. But now that the parkour is in a state that I'm happy to call more or less complete, I can finally move on to the features such as AI and combat, both of which I have been dreading since the onset of development. That being said, I recently took a university course in AI over the summer and feel a bit more prepared to tackle the challenge. I also would like to announce that the game has an official title. It will no longer be known as Project Submersion, but instead Eternal Blue. This is admittedly something I came up with after using a random game name generator for about 2 hours, and I got a ton of really bad results, but I also got this one, and I went through all the steps. You know, it sounded the best out of everything I had come up with, everything I generated before, and it also makes sense in terms of the story, which will be revealed at a later time. I don't really want to say too much about that right now. And wrapping things up, as I said earlier, the game's parkour is available in a playable beta test. That way, all of you can break the game and tell me just how bad it is. The link is in the description below, and it will also be in the new Guilded server. For those of you who haven't heard of Guilded, it's effectively Discord, but targeted at communities. There's tons of integrated features like polls, custom bots, project management tools, free nitro features, social media elements, and even integrated in-server forums, which for me is the big reason why I'm using that. There's more, but this video isn't sponsored, so that's all I'll cover. This isn't to say that the Discord server is closing or going anywhere. It will still exist for those who want to use it, and I'll still link it in future videos. Everyone there will still get announcements and updates as they come, but all bug reports for this beta build and future builds should be handled and guilded through the official Eternal Blue forums. The organization just makes it far easier for me to keep track of and know like what I'm taking care of and what still needs to be taken care of. The link to both servers are in the description below, though please feel free to join Guilded. It's a bit lonely in there. Anyways, I hope to see more feedback from everyone soon, and I hope everyone enjoys the parkour beta build. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to have more updates in the next few months. So stay tuned, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching, everyone. Later.